Welcome everybody to St. Paul, Club E St. Paul officially, if I haven't talked to you. Just a couple announcements before we begin our presentation. We have 3 remaining events here for the summer before we take our summer break and come back in September. So I'd like to announce those, and those are posted on our website, which is clube.com, and then our meetup as well. The last 3 luncheons we have are in Minneapolis, which is next Thursday, May 24th, called Grow or Go. It's a workshop to help entrepreneurs prepare for the grow or go decision. In Minneapolis, again, we have on June 7th, the Business Owner with Option Wins. This is a panel of seasoned business owners discussing long-term decisions on aspects such as succession, self, and significance. And then back here in St. Paul on June 20th, we have David Mann, who will talk about story marketing and clarifying your brand marketing. Our luncheons are supported by our sponsors. We're always looking for new sponsors, especially to start our new year in September. We have the University Club, Olsen Thielen CPAs, a regional accounting and consulting firm, Schwegman, Lundberg, and Worcester, IP attorneys for tech companies, the Irish Titan, an e-commerce digital agency, Sunbelt Business Brokers of Minnesota, helping you buy and sell your business, and my firm, Legal Shield, providing identity theft and legal protection. Just a little information about our speaker. I personally know and have spoken to the entrepreneurs that our speaker has coached, and they highly recommend his work and give him credit for his significant impact to the growth of their businesses. So I'm excited to bring him here to Club E. He's a certified business coach and founder of the Coaching Hour. He works with entrepreneurs in professional services like freelancers, coaches, and consultants to develop thriving businesses, earning 6 figures. He was the host of the Jason Jones Show on WCCO Radio in Minneapolis. He has started and grown several successful businesses in the entertainment industry. His previous coaching and training company went global in less than 2 years and currently serves Australia, Canada, and the United Kingdom. And it is my pleasure to introduce Jason Jones.
Thank you, Chum. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Isn't Chum awesome? I tell you. It takes a lot of work to run an event like this and keep the quality and make it extraordinary like it is every single month. So I'm a big admirer of Chum and the great work that she does in actually keeping this going as a service to all of us in business. So it's exciting to be here. This is a fantastic venue and a terrific event. This is some place that I've wanted to speak at a long time, so I'm really excited to be able to have some time with you and share with you. So first I want to kind of get a sense of who is in the room. So how many people that are here today own their own business? Own their own business. All right, so we have all the owners in the room. All right, this is fantastic. And how many people left a job to start your own business? Left a job to start your own business. Great. Well, isn't starting up your own business just terrific? Especially if you're leaving a job. Like you go out to the promised land of freedom and you end up finding yourself in sweatshop conditions with a tyrannical boss and low pay and low revenues and lots of stress. Yay for entrepreneurism, right? Like, are we crazy or what? But no, there's something out there. There's something where that independent streak, that drive. I love entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs take risks. They see something that they want to make happen and they see in the world, and they go out and they do it. And they, against all odds, odds, not fazed by the odds, they'll risk it all, they'll make it happen. So I have real deep respect and admiration for anybody who's willing to take the risk and take the leap. Today, we're going to spend 40 minutes talking about the #1 thing that people come to me and the Coaching Hour really for. How do I find great paying clients? I talk to lots and lots of people, and I talk about what I do a lot, but they don't somehow turn into a client that says, great, I heard about what you do, now I want to go do this with you. This is terrific. It just doesn't seem to come together and doesn't seem to happen. What's missing? Not work, because here's what it's not. It's not a lack of capability. I work with brilliant people who are highly capable, highly skilled. They're really great at what they do, or they wouldn't have had the guts to hang a shingle out in the first place to go say, hey world, I'm going to do this independently. So it's something else that's missing. And what we're going to talk about and get into today are the something elses that is missing. So the first thing that I want to start off with is a quote by Dale Carnegie. And the reason I like Dale and this quote is because this is like from the 40s, right? And there's so much talk about like, hey, everything's changed now. It's all different with the internet and internet marketing and all that, and everything's completely different. Some things are different. A lot of things have really remained the same. And this has remained the same. 85% of your financial success is due to your ability to communicate, negotiate, and lead. And shockingly, only 15% is due to the technical knowledge. First, let me say what this doesn't mean. This doesn't mean that technical knowledge isn't important. That is important. Once you make the sale, you're relying on that technical knowledge to be able to produce what it is that you promised, that result that you promised. But it really speaks more to where we end up putting our efforts and focus. I talk to so many entrepreneurs that say, gosh, I'm not getting the traction, I'm not getting the clients, maybe I need another degree, maybe I need another certification, maybe I need to be more, maybe I need to be better. And the truth about business is that those people that get the lion's share of business, whether they're a big company or they're a solopreneur or they're a consultant, is because they're the easiest to do business with. The easiest to do business with. And what does that mean? That means when I have a problem, they're the easiest to find because the way that I'm articulating my problem, I'm seeing on their website, or I'm hearing back from them when I go and talk to them and see them. And then once I engage and go, well, they're clearly going to be the best choice for me to work with. They appear to specialize in me and understand me and my problems. And then how easy was it to start doing business? How was the experience doing business together? How easy was the entire experience is really what dictates the success. Unfortunately, it's not being the best. Now, obviously, we want to be the best at what we do, but the truth of the matter, we've seen lots and lots of people being outrageously successful that we clearly identify as being very mediocre. They're so mediocre, why are they getting all the business? It's not fair. And it's not about fair. It's about how easy they are to do business with and connect to their people. It's their ability to communicate, negotiate, and lead. And so as you're looking at investing in yourself, investing in your company, moving things forward, look at the areas that are going to make the biggest impact in terms of bringing the right kind of people to you so that you can actually do what you do best and dazzle them in that way. So today is going to be for you if you would either like acquiring clients to be much easier, you would like to have it stop being stressful. You'd like to get rid of the hills and valleys out of your business where it's like, oh, we got a lot of stuff going on. I got to hurry up and service these people. Oh, no, I got to hurry up and get out there and sell some more. Oh, now I got to service these people. Now I have to sell them some more. So this is going to be you if you hate cold calling and if you don't like being salesy. So anybody here have a concern about like being salesy with people? Like where you're just feeling like you're like pressuring them or trying to get them to make a decision, things like that, a couple of people. So sure, so what we're going to do is we're going to give you a method and a system in which you can comfortably and predictably acquire clients that are ideal for you to be able to move so you're best matched with, and then take them through the process, the whole sales process, all the way over into bringing them into your company. So what do I know about entrepreneurs? I'll tell you a little bit about my background. So I became an entrepreneur when I was in high school, when I was 16 years old. And like any business, my business started with a problem. And my problem is nobody would dance with me at the high school dances. So I thought, what am I going to do about this? And then I thought, oh boy, if I was the guy on the stage playing the music, boy, I bet you the girls would like me then. So I started a business. I didn't have any music. I didn't have any gear. I didn't even have any money. But I knew a place that rented gear, and I knew a guy that had music, and he rented his music to me. And so that's all I needed. I pulled it together, and I doubled my expenses and said, all right, school, why don't you hire somebody that's in the school instead of outside of the school? And they agreed with me, and that got that whole business started and on its way. Now, mind you, when I got on the stage, it did nothing for my experience with the girls because I didn't know you had to ask them to actually dance with you. So it's a big learning experience, right, on all levels that came out of that. But that set me in a lifetime pursuit of a passion and a love for creating businesses, meeting needs, working with clients, and really operating in what I would call an entrepreneurial mindset. It's a much different mindset than that of an employee. And so it took me on an amazing adventure, everything from starting up a new radio station with the rest of the team where they said, hey, we have no budget for billboards or bus boards or any advertising whatsoever. It's you guys on the street, and there's 3 of you. Go! So we were basically doing guerrilla marketing just like any solopreneur would, getting out there meeting people, and it turned out that that probably was the biggest factor in our success. When I left it was a morning show that I had done, and after about a year and a half, we had taken it to the most listened to radio station and morning show in Duluth in 2 demographics. The one our target of 35 to 54 age range and 25 to 54 age range. And I believe it had everything to do with meeting people, making a connection, and caring about them. Not like, hey, I'm a celebrity, I'm the guy in the morning show, but caring about them mattering is what I think made the biggest difference to us and our success. And then, privately we'd say, it was because of our amazing talent, of course. That's why they were tuning in. So I've spent my entire life either in marketing, in business, in media, or running my own businesses, starting them up from scratch and moving them forward. And falling in love with coaching is like the best way that I want to make a difference. And this is probably the last company that I will start up, because this is my passion and my love and making a difference for people. And then I could actually help other people start things instead of starting new things all the time, which makes my wife so happy. No more new startups. Yay, Jason's out of startups. So that's terrific. So today you're going to find out how to confidently find the clients that are right for you, remove the mystery around client attraction, build a reliable and steady income. All those pieces are built right into this presentation today that we're going to talk about. So let me just get to, I want to go past this. So let's first start with the mistakes. We all like to know, what do I avoid? I want to avoid the pitfalls. So let's just go ahead and dive right in to what those are. So the first one and number one mistake that is made, that just about every single entrepreneur that I know that starts does, is that they don't spend enough time getting out in front of people and selling themselves to people. They spend more time sitting behind their computer, working on packages, putting things together, creating brochures, like working on their business rather than just getting out there and getting known for what they do. They spend a minimal amount of time. They go to a networking meeting and say, there, I did my sales and marketing. Terrific. Now I can go work on writing my book or writing a blog post or things like that. And so because of that, the traction is really slow. And the other thing is that people who start their own business and hang on a shingle generally think that within a year I should be doing fine. Within a year I should be making bank and I'll be supporting themselves. The actual statistics pan out. It takes about 3 years to be making a steady, comfortable income. To whereas your income's coming in, things are working, the pieces that you want to work the way that you want them to work it takes like 3 years. So a lot of people just quit. They give up. They're like, it must be me. It must be something that I'm deficient in, which is another pitfall, which is always blaming yourself. Like, I must not be enough, I must not know enough, I must not, when actually it's just there's probably some key things or activities that you're not doing. And the number one is actually getting out and getting in front of people and selling people. The other one is that a lot of people that hang out their shingle for the first time, they don't learn how to sell. You spend years getting all the experience that you've had in whatever specialty that you have that you do your service in. You spent 4 years getting a college degree, spent all this time, and then decide, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Sales, no problem. I'll just figure it out. And then get out there and then try to make it go and figuring it out as you go. It's a lot faster to learn a method, to learn some tools, to learn ways in which to actually be able to move yourself so you know that you're mastering a skill rather than making the same mistakes over and over without knowing that you're making the mistakes. And then finally, the shotgun approach to finding clients, which is like, all right, I'm a graphic designer. Everybody needs graphic design. I'm going to go everywhere and talk to everybody about graphic design. And so when you're doing that, there's no narrow focus, and you are not able to actually get traction or get known within any group. So we're gonna run under a couple of assumptions today with the ABC method that I'm going to share with you for attracting clients. The first assumption is you're really good at what you do. You really know your business. When you serve people, they're left satisfied, they experience like they've got more value than what they paid for, that you're a real pro and a real professional. There's that assumption. There's also another assumption that goes into this in terms of what I'm about to show you being really successful, and that is having identified a niche. And any solopreneur has got to identify a niche. We do not have the time, nor the budget, nor the resources to be able to be doing multiple markets or multiple niches. And there's two components to a niche that are really important. There is what you do to a certain extent, but that's usually just the smallest portion. It has more to do with choosing an audience. We were just talking, Dan and I were just talking about like karate earlier, and I was talking about a chiropractor that I know that was building his own building, and his niche is doing chiropractic work for karate clubs. So he's known in all the karate clubs. That's where he's most known and most referred. And he has a driving business that just comes in the door because he's the guy to go to. Why? Because he understands how their bodies are, because they're special and different, right? Because everybody's special. Everybody's special. Even when we go to buy pain reliever, we're special, right? You don't go down the aisle in Walgreens and go, oh, pain reliever. It's all up. No, it's like migraine medicine and backache medicine. I mean, you can leave with two of the same thing, but treat two different symptoms, because you have two different boxes. Even everything is niched, and everybody looks for that. All of our clients are looking for someone that specializes in them. So the more you're able to choose and identify an audience that you specialize, so they go, you understand me, you've already then eliminated about 90% of your competition right there of any generalist. So let's get into this method given those assumptions are met, okay? So this is a simple method. However, it's difficult to implement. Difficult means requires a lot of effort, requires a lot of focus, and it requires a lot of energy to be put into it over time. All right? If this were easy, well then we wouldn't be sitting here like exploring this and learning about this. We'd all just be out making millions of dollars, you know, and clients would be running in the door and doing what we need to do, right? So let's look at the first one, attracting attention. So when we think about attracting attention, there are a finite number of ways in which to market, in which to get yourself known. And the key is choosing. A lot of times when we get started, or even as we're going along in business, we're constantly thinking, well, I got to be online, and I got to be on LinkedIn, and I got to do Facebook ads, and I got to do networking, and I got to do, maybe I should do radio ads, and maybe I should do a newspaper ad, and maybe I should sponsor an event, you know, and trying to pick and choose like what are going to be the best things to do. And the answer is to all of that, yes. However, when? It's a matter of like at what point in your business. So you want to really look at like if you are in startup, are you in base, or are you pretty much thriving and expanding? Because in the beginning, when you're in startup, and startup is really based on this question, it's not a matter of how much time you've spent in your business. Startup really has to do with the consistent sales you're making, right? If you're still in startup, that means you're not quite getting all the sales to be able to have the kind of cash flow that you need to pay your bills, to give you the income that you want. You don't have the consistency going. You're still getting that dialed in. You're still in startup. I've met people that have been in startup for 10 years, sadly, that are just working at it, plugging at it, working at it, trying to find their way through. So it's not really a matter of time. It's really more a matter of where you're at revenue-wise and in transactions and the clarity in which you're connecting to a particular audience. So in the very beginning, and especially for solopreneurs or one-owner businesses, you want to look at focusing on high relationship marketing. Things that are going to develop relationships. You're going to have more exponential growth happen for you at the very beginning for bringing in clients and closing business by doing the high relationship. And what are the high relationship? High relationship can be speaking, high relationship are referral, word of mouth, strategic pursuit, creating a community, networking. These are all high relationship where you're one-on-one, you're connecting, you're getting in with groups of people and getting known by groups of people about what you do and what you're doing so that they can refer you, so they can recommend you, so they can say, hey, I know a guy or a gal that can help you with that, to fix that up. Now, as you move forward and you start moving out of startup, you're doing consistent, you're doing business, your business is more mature, you're attracting people, you have a lot of referral business coming in, things are stabilizing, things are kind of working out. Now you want to think, okay, I'd like to really expand out. And this is where like getting into the social media world like really starts helping in terms of expanding that brand. You've created some awareness of your brand in different communities in different places. Now you want to expand that, and that's where using your social media, using blogging, using these type of things can come into play to help you really grow and expand your brand. Finally, if you're doing really well and now you just really want to brand build so that your brand precedes you everywhere you go, that's where you can look at some of the more traditional advertising like newspaper advertising, articles can be good, publishing a book, that sort of thing, you know, at that stage. Stage it out. It really has more to do with not that they're good or bad, but what order they're done in terms of creating traction for you in terms of sales. Because blogging can be really great to build authority, and it can solve someone's problem that finds your article online, but it doesn't do very good in converting them into a client or having them pick up the phone and say, hey, I saw your blog article today on, you know, how to choose the right stock, and I thought, I'd call you. Can I buy your stock? It just doesn't happen. So it happens, it can help reinforce your brand later on down the road, but in the beginning when you need to start bringing in revenue and cash flow, that's not the place to put your energies. So as you look at this, I really invite you to just take a moment and identify like which two would be the right one for you to really dig in and master. Because if you're going to go and network, then you're going to want to master being able to take conversations in your networking and have those convert into an advocate, a referral partner, a potential client, and then where to go with that next. So you're not just out making friends and having fun and being social. Your networking is actually producing business relationships and making things happen. I hear that frustration a lot. I network all the time. What's wrong? Why am I not getting all kinds of clients? I keep telling people what I do, and it's just not happening. And a lot of it is just because there's not a focus around how are you going to be effective in that area. If you're going to choose speaking and doing presentations, what does mastery of speaking look like so that you make a real impact on the group that you're speaking to? And how do you structure your speech so that people actually see the opportunity to work with you, that they make the connection to you to a solution, right? That's not pitching them or saying, here's the features and benefits of my company. It's sharing some knowledge, right? But you're connecting the dots for them so that they're seeing like, oh, this is a person, they really know their stuff, I'm confident with them, I think I want to explore working with them or potentially referring them. But like really taking the time to get mastery. Because if you're working on levels of mastery in these particular areas as you're moving your business forward, you'll just get it more efficient, more effective, and be able to do the biggest thing, which is when people talk about scaling, solopreneurs are scaling one thing, your time. Your time is the biggest thing to scale. In order to have the freedom to both have financial freedom and time is a big, big job to figure that equation out so it ultimately starts to work. It takes intention, and it can be done. It can be done over time, being more effective and more efficient. So these are the methods of attracting attention, and you want to identify or choose two of those that you think are going to be the best, and do it based upon where you're at in your business, where things are at in terms of revenue and sales when you're going to be identifying what you're going to be putting your focus on first. So the easiest way to know that you've chosen, so I just briefly talked about defining your niche. So one of the ways to know that you have a good niche is to be able to, if you can answer the question for yourself, how can I find clients easily and inexpensively? Where can I get in front of groups of people who represent my ideal clients? Where and how can I do that? And if you can do that and you've identified that they are people that have the financial wherewithal in which to contract your services, now you've got a winning niche that you can pursue and focus and work on. Because the bottom line comes down to, do they have the money to pay you? And are you the best suited for working with them? And of course your strengths as well, which is being the best suited there. So now it comes time to bonding, right? So now we're kind of getting into the territory of the sales conversation. And the sales conversation doesn't just show up in, okay, we've got a meeting, they are interested in my product, I'm going to sit down, we're going to talk about it, I'm going to do my whole sales spiel, this is going to happen. The sales conversation happens in bits and pieces all the time. When you're networking, you're always in the sales conversation. And when I'm saying the sales conversation, I don't mean you're in the, hi, did I tell you about the coaching hour? Well, let me tell you how great it is. Oh, let me tell you about all the stuff that our clients do and how fantastic that is. And we've all networked with folks like that, and most of us want to get away from them as fast as possible. It's like, I feel the punch bowl calling me. Excuse me, I'm gonna run over here. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, during the conversation where you're identifying, is this somebody who's a potential client? Is this somebody that could use my best suited for them? Are they having problems? So you're always listening for those things and asking those kind of questions that when you're with other people to identify, like, where they are, how could we work together, how could I help them, or how can we collaborate in such a way that is going to be beneficial for both of us, right? And so you want to think about bonding like, it's as much as I hate to use dating as an analogy, and the reason I hate to use dating as an analogy is because people ask, how confident do you all feel about dating? Everybody's like, I hate dating, right? It's like, for many people, the greatest thing about being married is they never have to date again. And so it's like, but to use the dating analogy is like, you think about this, like, there are some people that you meet with, and like right away they're like, oh my gosh, you have what I need, I've been looking for this is terrific, let's go, right? They're like you resonate, you take off, it's terrific, and you go off and work together right away. As if in a dating analogy, you know, you meet someone, it's love at first sight, it's like terrific, you're off on your first date and everything's wonderful. Well, that's rare. That doesn't happen like every day, right? And hoping or only thinking, well, I'm just going to wait for those, means you're really going to starve in your business, right? It really is about meeting your prospective clients where they're at, and then moving with that relationship with where that needs to go. You know, I frequently will run into people and they'll be telling me, I'll say, so tell me, what do you do? And then they talk for about 15 minutes and I'm like, oh wow, I could so help you narrow that focus down, right? I identified that they could use help, but if they don't think that they need help, I'm certainly not going to be like, let me work on that elevator pitch for you, you know? The last thing they want or need from me is to be telling them what's not working about what they're doing in the moment, that unsolicited advice, right? And so, so for me, when I identify someone who's an ideal prospect, and I see that they're somebody that clearly could use some help, the next thing I will want to do is invite them to an event. Like, hey, I'm speaking at an event. It'll be really great. We're talking about niching your business. You might be interested. Come on over. Or we've got a meetup that we do every month. We have speakers, great community. You could probably do business. I invite them to something. You move that relationship along where they're at. The biggest mistake that so many make, because we're so eager to help and do what we want to do and make a difference for people out there, is that we rush it and we rush in and we're always thinking, what can I do? Oh, I see a need. Let me fill that need. Let me do that for you. And that's regardless of where they're at. And so we get confused when they're kind of being repelled and they're not, you know, getting on board. They're just kind of friendly, or they're trying to escape, or it just doesn't go anywhere. You know, those type of things. Because we're all in our heads. We're having a conversation with ourselves. Like, hey, Jason, I think this person's an ideal client. I think they are. We should tell them about our program. Let's do that. And so we're spending all our time with ourselves, but not with actually finding out where they are. The listening. The listening is absolutely, absolutely key. I do a workshop that's specifically devoted to listening, and it's amazing what comes out when people experience really being listened to, like having someone hang on every word and understand everything they're saying without the intention to judge or to add to or to, but just purely just get it and understand it. And the exercise itself is contrived because everybody knows they're doing an exercise. And so we would do this exercise where they would just share a story, and then I would ask the person who was telling the story, how did you feel? What was the experience? And I'm amazed at the things they say. I feel love. I feel affinity. I really like this person. I really trust this person. They're feeling, it's kind of like they're becoming fast friends. They're that great client that's like, hey, I met you. I love you. Let's do business. You know, that we always want. And it comes from the simple, yet difficult to do, act of really listening and getting in there and understanding them. The key to understanding, the key to success is really always understanding where your client's at, What are they thinking? How are they thinking? How do they articulate their problems? And the only way that we can get there is by really listening for all the time, listening for where they're at, what's going on with them. And that produces an amazing experience that does what we want, which is to create trust and rapport. We want that to happen because you can't have a sale without trust and rapport. Only if, I suppose, if coercion is there, you could have it without trust and rapport. But if it's a real win-win type of sale, a real win-win type of relationship that we all want, then it's not going to happen without listening. So that's one of those things that it's easy to say. And everybody's like, I listen. I think I listen. Do I listen? I listen. I listen to people. I like listening to people. Let me give you a context in which to think about your listening. This is what really helped me to really understand and know if I'm actually getting in their world or if I'm just listening enough to be able to like talk about my service or lead them down a path toward working together or something like that. So in coaching school, I learned 3 levels of listening. The first level of listening is on the level of me, right? So this is like getting directions. So I might come up to Chum and say, like, Chum, how do I get to Creative Kids stuff? And then she tells me, you know, go down Summit, take a right, get on Grand, keep going. And I'm just listening for only what I need to know to get where I'm going. Thanks, got it, good. I'm out. It's all just really about, it's just about me and getting what I need. The second level of listening, and this is where we're at like 90% of the time. And by the way, this is like, there's no judgment around this. Human beings are at level 2 99% of the time. That's how we're wired. We're human beings. That's how we are. Going to the next level takes effort, development, and mastery to work at it, okay? So this isn't like, oh man, I should have been listening better all along. No, you really shouldn't. You're human. We're all human beings. So the second level is the level of we. And in the level of we, that is what's called listening to respond. So you've had those conversations. I tell you about my dog. You tell me about your dog. I tell you about my kid busting his head open by falling in the bedroom. You tell me about your kid's accident. And we go back and forth, and what I share reminds you of something you can share. And we share back and forth. A lot of our small talk is this way, which is fine. It's fun. It's terrific. However, if we're in a sales conversation and we're just listening to respond, then it's like, oh, they have a problem. Well, let me tell you how I solve those problems. And we're diving in to those kind of things, right? It doesn't give them the full experience of being heard and being listened and acknowledged, right? We're not having that affinity and trust show up. It may or it may not, but it's not as certain as when you get in the third level. The third level is the level of you. It's the level of the other person. It's where all of your effort, all of your focus, all of your energy is put over there to understand exactly where they're coming from, to understand what they're dealing with, so they experience being fully heard. And you want to think about something that differentiates you. And we're always looking for something that will differentiate us from our competition. Having people have the experience coming away from talking with you, having been fully heard, will differentiate you in a radical way from the 99% of everyone else out there selling, listening to respond. I just need to hear enough to know what to sell you, or what to get you, or what to get you set up with. And it takes the ability to like put the voices out of your head that we listen to that always kind of chime in and tell us things and things like that, to be able to like set that aside and just keep bringing our focus back to understanding. And here's what's beautiful about practicing this, is that when you do that, people tell you more. When people start getting heard, I go and check out at the grocery store. It takes me 20 minutes. Because the lady's like, oh, and then my kids, and then we did this. And it's like, wow. And I'm the first person that's listened to you all day, aren't I? You know? They want to share. People are dying to be heard. And it's just a matter of stopping and really listening and getting it that really creates that experience. They are going to want to work with you by putting the effort into. So the biggest thing is to really creating that success in the bonding is your ability to listen and then move that conversation to whatever the next step would be. So your KLT is like your know, like, and trust. And there's nothing that develops know, like, and trust better than really getting into that listening on the you level. So the listening is all about the other person and in there. The other thing is that when I was talking about meetings, so not every client is like going to be, they're ready to work with you. Even if they're an ideal client, you recognize this is a person that fits my profile. So it's really, there's kind of a push and pull that goes. You experience that with the new prospects and clients. There's a little bit of a push and pull, a little bit of a dance that kind of goes back and forth with that. So the key here is like to never pursue. It's like you never want to get into the hunter mode. Or the predator mode, like, wait, come back here. No, we'll find a way. We'll do this. This is terrific. And the best antidote to that is, I'll go back to the listening. Because the client, the prospect, they'll tell you everything you need to know. If you're really listening and focused and really there, they're going to tell you everything you need to know and more about what to do next with that client, where to go next. Like maybe we should have a meeting and talk more, or maybe I should refer you to somebody else. It will be there for you. You won't have to, how do I get it out of them? They'll volunteer it. It'll just pour forth. So this is a part of, in my program, we have a Magical Selling Secrets roadmap. It's an influence roadmap in which to move through the sales conversation. Because the sales conversation is a unique conversation that is unlike any other. It's not like small talk. It's not like speaking. It has its own destinations that you want to move through as you're moving through that space of identifying if they're the right client, are they going to be a really good fit, and then moving them into the actual sale aspect. And so as you look at this, like the majority of the time is spent listening, and a small, relatively to the rest, portion about explaining is relatively small. And what the explaining is, well, let me just ask first. How many people think the explaining is explaining all your features and benefits and how the product or service is going to work and work for them? How many feel that that's what the explaining is? Yeah? See a few head nods. So I will say yes, so the answer is not wrong, but the key here is which features and benefits, which service, right? So we spend all this time listening, and the listening uncovers what? It uncovers what they're most emotionally motivated for, what has them most emotionally motivated to buy. People buy on emotion, and then they use logic to justify the purchase. Okay? So it's what they're most emotionally connected to. So if, for instance, I talk to somebody and they're like, being an entrepreneur, I'm so isolated, I'm so alone, I just don't like it. I feel like I'm out in the wilderness. When I was working at my job, I had people at the water cooler. Now, when we actually get to the explaining part where I talk about my program and I say, let me tell you about how to attract clients, that's not what they're most motivated by. They're telling me what they're most motivated by. I'm going to say, you know what? We have a whole community here of people that are trying to achieve and trying to up their game and trying to make the kind of living that they want and be effective at it. It's a whole community that supports. Oh, that sounds great. It's speaking to that which is most important to them. And only that. Everything else can be a bonus, but only that, because that is what is going to make the difference in terms of them buying. Too often do I see, and even experience, right? Because like we're human, we're kind of trying to do this. It's a dance. There's no perfect science to it, right? Because we want to share. We're passionate about what we do and how we do it and all the stuff. We love it all. So we have to use restraint and really focus in on what's important to them. And then moving into the close is really quite simple. So before I go into the close aspect, how many people feel uncomfortable actually asking for the business, asking for the sale? Who are willing to admit it? Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, it is kind of like, that's kind of like the scary moment. Like, oh, this went so well, will they, won't they? I don't know. Well, if we've listened really well and we've tied what they're emotionally motivated by to what it is that we're going to do, the service that we're offering, how we're going to help them, then this close can be easy. And so making it less scary really comes down to how you word it. So for one thing, giving people a choice is really, really important to people. People feel empowered when they have a choice. I use what I call permission-based selling. Like if I see that I have something I can offer, I'll stop and say, hey, you know what? The problem you described is something that I've done some work with. and something that we do in our program. Can I tell you more about that? And so then they just start, yeah, I'm interested. Yeah, tell me about that. Great, and then I will. And really ask their permission all the way through. Because truly, if I bulldoze my way through, it's not going to help my odds of the sale. You know, yes, come on, you're going to say yes. You know, the idea is not to twist their leg to get them to do business. We want willing people to work with, right? And so the same thing is true of the close. So here are some comfortable close examples that are really great, comfortable, easy ways to just ease into that conversation. And then there's a whole conversation that goes with the closing conversation. The money conversation, the time conversation. There's a lot of considerations they have to work out. So we could look at, great. And if we decide to move forward, when would you like to start? If we were to do this with me, which of these options would suit you the best if you have a package offerings set up in terms of what you're proposing? Or how would you like to pay for this? There are a lot of ways to advance the conversation. And the key here with the close is to advance the conversation, not necessarily, so do you want to do this or not? Because if they're not in a space of clarity, then, and if there's any confusion present, the answer will most likely always be no. And you won't have the opportunity to go back and go, whoa, wait, what do we need to clear up? What's not clear? Because that's the other thing about sales that people really miss, is that if your mission is to get your client to clarity, you're going to be the hero at the end of the conversation, whether they do business with you or not, because they got clear on what it is they need. Because most of the time, people are going out trying to find a solution to a problem they have, and they don't know what the solution is. They're going and making their best guess with the people they work with to identify and figure that out, and it's up to us to help them do that. So to recap the method here, it's simple, and it also takes development, practice, and work to do. We have attract, by choosing which methods we're going to do. We have the bonding that we do primarily by really focusing on listening and developing that skill. And then make an offer, close, ask them to move forward. Don't keep the perpetual, maybe we'll do business, maybe we'll do business. Like move it to a logical end or another. So what I shared with you today is like just the middle portion of an entire formula that we have included in our program. With the coaching hour that helps solopreneurs really from soup to nuts to be able to get all the right pieces in place and do the mastery in the right areas so that bringing the business in can be as easy and comfortable as you do at delivering the business. Right? You're all confident in what you deliver, so now let's make how it comes in that easy. And one of the things that we have coming up that maybe is something you want to take advantage of is an opportunity to deep dive down into your niche, like who's your audience. And it really doesn't matter if you've been in business for 5 years, 10 years, or you're just starting out right now. Always evaluating where is my best market. Am I lining up with my audience so that they recognize that I am the best match and fit for them? And then, am I actually articulating a problem that's resonating with them that would be like, oh, that's it. This is what I'm trying to solve, and you have it. Now I want to talk to you. And is that showing up in your language, in your brochures, on your website, and all of that sort of thing? And so at the workshop that I have coming up on June 15th, Client Attraction Secrets, we spend a lot of time giving you a path, a method, a structure in which to move through your information to identify who's going to be ideal for you. And I love doing this workshop because of the results that this exercise does for people. There was a gal that started my program, and we got this down right away, and she sent out a letter to everybody saying like, all right, everyone, this is my new focus. And she came back and she says, I got 10 times as many leads as I got in the last year. Just by having a focus. It's like, sure, because people can identify, oh, I know somebody like that. People then identify who you are ideal to help with and who you've chosen. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, please do. You can visit with us at the end of the program today. We'll be here and we can totally set you up with that. Normally it's $199, but since Chum gave me this great opportunity to be able to come and share with you here today, I'll offer it to you today only for $99 to come and participate on June 15th. And so that's the formula, everyone. Thank you so much for coming, your time, and very kind listening.
Thank you so much, Jason. We're here. The room is open for now.